albums. I'm sure he has some for sale. I saw them inside. You go in and then straight down, and the door at the far end is where his CDs are. And his business manager and wife is this beautiful young woman right here. And Aaron plays all over the country, all over the world. He plays regular at the Wild Horse Pass Casino. Resort, I'm sorry. I always get those two mixed up. It's resort! And he plays at the resort. You go there, there's a falls inside the building, and he sits there and plays. He can play almost anything. I've never been able to stop him. What do you know this one? And he goes, yeah. And he also plays over here at the South Rim, and I'm sure he'll tell you more. If you buy one of his albums, you will not go wrong. So I can't remember how much he charges, but I think it's like 2 fried breads and $15 or something. I can't remember how much it costs, but he'll tell you that. Anybody ready? Okay. I'm just talking until he gets ready. The great one, I call him. When I email him, the great one, how you doing? He goes, I'm great. And if you want to make him feel good, just go, Mike. Say it. Mike which? Yeah, say that to him, and his youth side just goes. And then he goes, Yacht, hey! His Navajo side goes. Oh, yeah, he's almost ready. Okay, please put your hands together for one of our famous Navajo youth artists. He's an artist extraordinaire. Aaron White.
Yahtahave. How you doing? My name is Aaron White. I'm half Navajo, half Northern Ute. From my mother's side, I'm known as Yamparika, and which is White River, from the White River Band. And from my father's side, I'm Dinesh Navajo, Black Sheep, the pt.1, which is my clan on my Navajo side. And what I've been doing over the past few years, I've had a very busy year this year. I've traveled, I've been touring and doing a lot of shows and making flutes whenever I can. But I've had the opportunity to do a lot of recordings this year. I have about three recordings coming out before the end of the year. But I've been talking about the Native American flute and working on preservation of Native American flute music and Native American flutes in general. I've been traveling around giving lectures on the Native American sound
and now we have
and the history of the making, and also the recording
now we have the
of it, and just basically giving an overall view of the Native American flute in general. There's so many stories, so many different things, and a lot to be learned about the Native flute. Going back to the time of our ancestry, the Anasazi, and how the flutes were made and constructed, kind of like what I have in my hand here, is a basic river cane flute. And the cane flutes were predominantly used around this area because of the cane that grew in the high desert regions, and also around the dry riverbeds and places throughout the Grand Canyon, through the Verde Valley, all the way over to the Eastern Agency near New Mexico, and all around wherever there was dry riverbeds that would fill up during the monsoon season, and the water would go into the ground, but yet the river cane could root itself deep enough to where it had a water resource, but yet it would grow up, and the river cane stalks would go as high as about 15 to 20 feet high in some areas. Some very thick, some very small, some very thin like this here. But you know, the cane flutes were the first type of flutes that were used amongst our ancestors, besides bone flutes, like flutes that were made out of maybe like some sort of fowl, maybe the eagle whistles, or bone that was used from maybe like something of a crane or something like that. One of the oldest flutes that were found was in the Greenland area, which was dated back to about 15,000 years ago. They date that back even maybe a little bit further during the time of Neanderthal man, which would be back during the time of the dinosaurs. So there's a lot of history that goes back with the Native American flutes, or with flutes in general around the different indigenous cultures around the world: Mongolia, China, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, New Zealand, the Pacific Islanders, people from South America, the Inca, Aztec, Mayan cultures, cultures up in Canada, all throughout, the northern part, the Celtics, just all types of people had flutes in their societies and in their indigenous cultures. Focusing on North American flutes alone, going back to the time of the Anasazi, the Hohokam, the Fremont, all the way over to Chaco Canyon, all the way through Canyon de Chelly, Patatikins, Walnut Canyon, also here at Wapatki. A lot of different types of flutes were excavated during the time when archaeologists were digging and finding all the ruins that were coming out. Even in Sedona, through Boynton Canyon, there's over 150 to 200 undocumented sites still that are throughout that canyon alone that have pots, flutes, all types of archaeological finds that were found throughout that whole area, in through the Grand Canyon region, through the South Rim, all the way down in through the Colorado River. Colorado River tribes had used cane flutes like these. So this is something that is still made in its traditional form, but yet is used in a modern context, such as the music that I play with my group Burning Sky and Blue Stone Project, being accompanied by guitar, by piano, by symphonic music, symphonies, 26-piece orchestras. It's a traditional instrument that has been carried on through tradition and passed on through history and through time, but yet it still remains the same, and the sound is just as relevant from then as it is today. So I want to play this for you and do a song for you called River Cane Honor Song to give you an idea of how this music has been transposed and brought from those traditional times to this modern time, but yet the music still remains the same.